In the hush of twilight, when city lights begin to shimmer like scattered stars, a gentle journey unfolds through the heart of Toronto. This is not the rush of morning traffic or the bustle of midday streets, but the softer rhythm that settles in when the day exhales and the night begins to hum. The CN Tower rises calmly above it all, a silent sentinel watching over a city at rest. Toronto is a place of many textures, gleaming glass and aged brick, tree-lined avenues and wide waterfronts, echoing footsteps on cobblestones, and the rustle of leaves in quiet ravines. It's a city where stories linger in bookshops, where laughter floats from back patios, and where communities, each with their own flavor and spirit, settle in peacefully under the evening sky. There is movement here, but it is not hurried. It is the slow turning of pages, the drifting of boats, the gentle clink of teacups and voices lowered in kindness. Tonight we will walk its neighborhoods, pause beside its lake shores, and follow its streetcars as they hum toward home. From historic halls to cozy cafes, from quiet alley murals to sprawling urban gardens, Toronto offers a serene kind of magic, the kind that asks nothing more than your stillness and your dreams. Welcome to Bedtime Travel Stories, where soothing tales and gentle narrations take you on a tranquil journey through the world's most enchanting places, right from the comfort of your bed. Unwind and travel with us as we explore the globe one story at a time, helping you relax and drift into a peaceful sleep. Evening settles gently over old Toronto, softening the edges of rooftops and casting long golden shadows down the narrow streets. Here, in the original heart of the city, history is not confined to museums. It is etched into the very texture of the buildings. The red brick facades, some dating back to the 1800s, hold stories that linger like the scent of baking bread from nearby corner shops. The past doesn't demand attention here. It simply waits, quietly present. Along Front Street, the pace slows. Footsteps echo more softly on the time-worn pavement, and lanterns above doorways begin to glow. The rhythm of the city shifts, no longer driven by schedules or commerce, but by the simple pleasure of walking. A breeze lifts from the lake, brushing through the narrow laneways and carrying the distant hum of a streetcar. St. Lawrence Market stands like a grand cathedral to community and food, its arched windows catching the last amber light of day. The stalls inside are silent now, but their daytime bustle lingers in the air, replete with spices, cheeses, chatter, and laughter. Even in its stillness, the market feels alive, as though it is simply resting, not sleeping. Steps away, Market Lane Park offers a green pause, where benches curve under leafy trees and fountains bubble gently into stone basins. It is a place where time seems to stretch out, unhurried. Couples linger over takeout dinners, their conversation softened by the evening. Children's voices fade into the distance as families begin their slow walk home. A few blocks east, the distillery district emerges like a preserved memory, Gas lamps flicker to life along pedestrian cobblestone streets, and the scent of roasted coffee drifts from late-night cafes tucked within the walls of old whiskey warehouses. Art galleries glow softly, and fairy lights zigzag above outdoor tables where friends laugh quietly over glasses of wine. The buildings lean in close here, their brickwork rich with time. Arched doorways and iron fixtures tell of trades long past, like coopers, printers, blacksmiths, and the air still holds a trace of their labor. But tonight, the district is wrapped in a peaceful hush, as though the city itself has pulled up a chair and is settling in to listen. At the edge of Old Toronto, the Gooderham Flatiron stands in gentle contrast to the shimmering towers behind it. It narrows into a point like the turning of a page, marking where the old meets the new. From this spot, one can see both directions at once, backward into Toronto's beginnings and forward into its bright modern rhythm. In these streets, Toronto reveals its quieter self, not the rush of the day, but the grace of evening. Here, where gaslight meets skyscraper and cobblestone meets streetcar, the city becomes something else entirely, a place not just to visit, but to feel. And under the settling sky, it offers this gentle chapter as a place to pause and breathe and simply be. Just across the shimmering surface of Lake Ontario lies a world apart from the city's pulse. The Toronto Islands, a string of small land masses nestled in the lake, offer a breath of calm just minutes from downtown. The ferry glides slowly through the harbor, cutting gentle ripples into the water as the skyline recedes into a backdrop of glowing windows and distant hums. The air feels different here, cooler, softer, laced with the scent of open water and damp cedar. As the ferry docks, the islands welcome their visitors with a hush. There are no cars, no towering buildings, only winding paths, boardwalks, and the sound of rustling leaves. Bicycles roll by with gentle clicks, and the occasional bell rings out like a soft punctuation to the quiet. Couples walk hand in hand beneath leafy canopies, and children chase the last rays of sunlight across open lawns. Center Island stretches wide with green spaces and shaded benches, its wide paths leading to beaches kissed by gentle waves. The sand is smooth beneath the feet, and the lapping of the lake creates a rhythm that invites stillness. At sunset, the water glows in warm tones, reflecting the pastel sky above. Geese glide across the surface, trailing delicate ripples in their wake. Further along, Ward's Island feels like a village caught in a dream. Tiny cottages sit nestled among gardens overflowing with hollyhocks and herbs. Wooden chairs rest on porches facing out toward the lake, as if waiting for a friend or a moment of thought. The scent of wood smoke from a distant fire mixes with honeysuckle and lake air, wrapping the visitor in a feeling of home. There are artists here and writers, and those who simply choose to live slowly. It is a place for sketches and long journals, for evening walks that don't require a destination. Even the birds seem unhurried, darting between treetops and rooftops with graceful ease. The island holds its own time, and it invites all who visit to slow to its pace. The skyline, now a silhouette behind the trees, glows faintly with city lights. But here, in the hush of the islands, that world feels gently paused. Fireflies begin to rise from the grass, blinking softly like scattered stars. The ferry horns call in the distance, low and slow, but there is no rush to return. By the time the final boat heads back across the lake, the islands are cloaked in shadows and soft light. The night air smells of pine and stillness, and the only sound is the lap of waves against the shore. In this quiet pocket of Toronto, where the city breathes its gentlest breath, sleep seems just a step away. In the heart of Toronto, just west of downtown's ordered grid, the streets begin to meander with a rhythm all their own. This is where Kensington Market and Queen West unfold, not in straight lines, but in colorful loops of expression, sound, and scent. The city's polish gives way to something looser, livelier, and more personal. Here, creativity doesn't shout. It pulses, calmly but insistently, just beneath the surface. Kensington Market is a patchwork of the unexpected. Victorian homes painted in murals lean over grocers bursting with fruit crates and dried chilies. Bicycles lean lazily against lampposts, their baskets full of bread or books. The scent of incense mixes with roasting coffee, and overhead, prayer flags flutter gently from second-story porches. Every step feels like turning the page of a well-loved journal. The shops are small but bursting with detail. Vintage coats, handmade jewelry, tiny cafes and record stores spill out onto the sidewalk in a quiet riot of color and texture. Musicians gather at corners to play acoustic melodies, their cases open but unrushed, as if the music is its own reward. No one seems in a hurry here. Time folds in on itself like a well-worn jacket, comfortable, lived in, and timeless. From Kensington, Queen Street West stretches east and west like a long ribbon of art and atmosphere. Storefronts glow with curated windows. Galleries quietly beckon with the flicker of soft halogen lights, and the air shifts between perfume and the faint tang of fresh paint. Side streets hold hidden cafes and quiet lofts, where sketchbooks rest open on tables and voices drop to whispers over candlelit dinners. Here, streetcars slide past murals that cover entire walls. Dragons, portraits, poems, and patterns layered like a city's unspoken memory. At dusk, the graffiti glows under the amber hue of overhead streetlights, giving the alleys the look of galleries after hours. Even the buildings seem to breathe, the old bricks giving way slightly to the stories painted on their skin. As the evening deepens, the music changes. From doorways drift jazz and indie folk, deep house and soft acoustic sets. A saxophone curls into the air outside a basement bar. Further on, a quiet voice sings under strings of hanging bulbs in a narrow courtyard. It is not loud, never loud, but it lingers, like steam rising from a mug of chai on a cool night. Those who wander Queen West tend to do so without maps. The streets invite detours, slow strolls, and pauses to admire details others might overlook. A handwritten sign, a curious sculpture, the way ivy curls around a fire escape like a living frame. The neighborhood doesn't ask to be seen. It allows itself to be discovered one moment at a time. In this part of Toronto, the city reveals a different kind of grace. Not towering or grand, but stitched together from small pieces of wonder. Kensington Market and Queen West are where art grows like wildflowers between the sidewalk cracks, quiet, uncontained, and gently extraordinary. Within the heart of the city, surrounded by the energy of modern life, there is a place where time slows and thoughts deepen. The University of Toronto stretches out like a campus in a novel. Gothic towers, leafy quads, and ivy-draped walls whispering stories of students, scholars, and seasons gone by. The hum of the city fades at its edges, replaced by the soft rustle of pages, footsteps on gravel, and the occasional toll of a distant bell. Walking through the university's St. George campus at twilight feels like stepping into a quiet dialogue between stone and sky. The buildings, old and patient, seem to observe rather than impose. Hart House looms gently over the courtyard, its great windows glowing with a golden interior light, while the nearby chapel's steeple rises calmly into the fading blue. The main lawn, flanked by trees, carries a hush that feels almost sacred. Benches scattered across the grass become resting spots for lone readers and soft conversations. The scent of earth and old books blends in the air, and somewhere behind a cluster of hedges, a violin carries a delicate tune into the open dusk. In this moment, the university is not just a place of learning, it's a place of gentle reflection. A narrow pathway beckons to the west, curving beneath canopies of elm and maple. This is Philosopher's Walk, a meandering trail that runs like a quiet thought between the buildings. Named for contemplation and shaded by tall trees, it carries the calm energy of long-considered ideas. Stone walls cradle the path, and small bridges arch over trickling streams that gurgle softly below. Each step feels deliberate here. The walk winds behind the Royal Ontario Museum and down past music halls where the sounds of piano practice slip through open windows. It is a place of movement, but not urgency, more a gentle wandering than a commute. The light dims under the foliage, dappling the trail with cool shadows and sunlit slivers. People pass in slow intervals, some walking dogs, others reading as they go, many simply taking the long way home. The air is often filled with the scent of lilac or the faint musk of autumn leaves, depending on the season. In every case, the feeling is the same, that this is not just a path through space, but a path through stillness, a pause in the city's pulse. As the walk nears its end, it opens briefly to the sight of Convocation Hall, its grand dome settled peacefully against the sky. The last of the sunlight brushes the upper windows, and beyond it, the trees of Queen's Park sway quietly in the evening breeze. The city begins again beyond the edge of the campus, but here, for now, the world remains softly thoughtful. At the end of the walk, one turns back to see the path winding away like a memory. The university, with all its books and arches, has not disappeared. It has simply folded into the quiet of the evening. And for those who walked its paths, it leaves behind something calm, something settled, something gently awake within the stillness of night. As the city begins to quiet and the light turns amber, the streets around St. Lawrence Market take on a different rhythm. The crowds of the day have gone, and what remains is a soft hush, the clink of dishes being washed in nearby kitchens, the distant chime of a bell on a streetcar gliding by. The market's grand brick facade glows faintly under the evening lights, its arches and ironwork casting delicate shadows on the pavement. The doors are closed now, but the air still carries traces of what was sold and savored hours earlier. There's a subtle scent of sourdough and cured meats, of fresh herbs and ground espresso. The old stones underfoot feel warm, as if holding on to the buzz of the day, and yet everything is still. The city, like the market, is resting now, digesting the day in silence. Around the corner, St. James Cathedral rises in Gothic calm. Its bell tower stretches quietly into the darkening sky, its pale stone lit from below in soft halos. In the nearby park, the trees rustle gently as evening breezes pass through their limbs. The grass, freshly cut, gives off a clean green scent, and pigeons flutter toward the last crumbs left behind by picnickers. The neighborhood itself feels steeped in history. Brownstones and Victorian facades with ornate windows and gas-style lamps line the streets, their balconies heavy with flowers. The glow from inside suggests warm dinners, soft music, and the murmur of conversations shared between friends or family. In a city known for its size and speed, this corner feels like a village. Further south, the esplanade curves gently, lined with restaurants that have dimmed their lights but kept their doors open. Servers chat quietly while clearing tables. A couple lingers over a final glass of wine, their laughter soft, as if not to disturb the peace settling over the block. The pace is gentle, like the slowing breath of someone preparing for sleep. A few doors down, old stone steps lead to a tiny bookstore still open, its front windows fogged just slightly by the warmth inside. A record plays low in the background. The shopkeeper leans over a novel, only looking up now and then to smile at the occasional late-night wanderer. It's the kind of place that feels as if it has always been there, waiting patiently for the next curious soul. On the cobbled laneway behind the market, string lights crisscross above empty patio tables. A chalkboard still lists the day's specials in fading script. It feels like the stage of a play just finished, the seats empty, but the atmosphere still thick with presence. Even in stillness, this place speaks, this place. And as the night deepens, the market and the neighborhood around it exhale. This is where the city folds in for the night, not with fanfare, but with familiarity. It is not trying to impress. It simply is. quiet, comforting, and completely at ease. As the city stretches westward, the sound of tires on pavement gives way to something softer, leaves rustling, gravel crunching underfoot, and birdsong threading its way through tall trees. Hyde Park opens wide like a deep breath. It is Toronto's great green lung, a place where the rush of life slows into a meander. By evening, the park is a tapestry of quiet moments woven together by trails, trees, and the occasional still pond. Winding paths lead deeper into the wooded heart of the park, under arching branches that filter the last light of day into gold and shadow. Squirrels dart playfully between trunks, their rustling a gentle rhythm against the hush. A rabbit pauses near a patch of wildflowers, its nose twitching in the dusk. Nearby, a jogger slows to a walk, savoring the scent of pine and rain-cooled earth. In the springtime, cherry trees bloom near the hillsides, their pale petals like snow suspended in midair. Tonight, their branches are bare, but still graceful, reaching out as if in memory of their past brilliance. Park benches beneath them sit quietly, inviting anyone who needs a moment to simply sit and look. The air is filled with a scent of fallen leaves and distant campfire smoke. Further in, Grenadier Pond stretches wide and still, its surface catching the reflections of nearby lamps and the deepening twilight sky. Ducks drift slowly in clusters, their soft quacking barely disturbing the silence. Along the shore, reeds sway gently in the wind, footsteps crunch on the wooden boardwalk, and the occasional cyclist coasts past with a low whir and the ringing of a small bell. There are hills in Hyde Park, gentle and grassy, that roll like the folds of a blanket. Children sled here in winter and lie on their backs in summer, watching clouds pass like dreams overhead. At this hour, the hills are deserted, save for a lone figure standing still at the crest, watching, listening, perhaps just being. The peace of the moment feels almost sacred. A small amphitheater hides among the trees, its stage quiet beneath the open sky. Wooden benches rest empty, curved like echoes around a space once filled with voices. Tonight, there are no lines recited, no applause. Only wind, leaves, and the occasional hoot of an owl punctuating the silence. The gardens near the park's eastern edge, once full of bright blooms, are now silhouettes of stems and seed pods. But there's beauty in that too, a quiet kind of resilience, preparing for the spring to come. Lanterns begin to glow along the pathways, and the forest feels alive, not with sound, but with presence. Everything here is slow and sure, like the beating of the earth's own heart. And as the sky deepens to a soft navy blue, Hyde Park folds itself into night. A gentle world within the city, where the wind speaks in whispers, and every branch, trail, and hilltop seems to say, rest is not only allowed here, it is encouraged. As the city extends eastward, the pulse of the Danforth carries with it the comfort of community and the scent of something warm and familiar. Known affectionately as Greektown, this stretch of Toronto has long been a gathering place where food, music, and neighborly smiles have always been part of the evening air. When the sun dips low and the restaurants begin to glow from within, the entire neighborhood seems to exhale in unison. Sidewalks fill gently with the clinking of plates and soft greetings in English, Greek, and other languages woven into the city's vibrant fabric. Hosts beckon warmly from doorways, and windows fog slightly from the heat of kitchens busy with late dinners. The scent of garlic and lemon, charcoal and oregano floats through the air like an invitation. A slow walk here feels like being welcomed home, even for strangers. Under strings of lights that crisscross between storefronts, couples dine on patios, their conversations drifting into the street like music. Bowls of olives, baskets of fresh bread, and dishes of grilled fish or spanakopita arrive at tables like small, delicious ceremonies. Wine is poured slowly, laughter is shared easily, and no one seems eager to check the time. The evening belongs to being present. The architecture here is low and warm, brick storefronts with cheerful signs and bright blue accents. Flower boxes hang from balconies, and the occasional cat watches from a windowsill, its tail curling in rhythm with the breeze. As the sky deepens, more lights flicker on, giving the whole street a golden glow, like a festival that never quite ends. Just off the Danforth, smaller streets branch out into quiet residential pockets. Here front porches hold rocking chairs and potted basil. Families gather for late dinners under string lights in small backyards, and the faint sound of a bouzouki echoes from a radio left on indoors. There's a deep sense of belonging in these corners, something slow and steady that holds time gently. Nearby, a small park draws a few night walkers, some with strollers, others with dogs, all with the same unhurried steps. The playground is quiet now, its swings swaying gently in the evening breeze. Lamps cast halos on the path ahead, and the rustle of leaves adds rhythm to the silence. It's not grand, but it's enough. More than enough. Back on the main strip, a bakery prepares its final batch of pastries for the morning. The scent of warm honey and puff pastry escapes through a half-open door, where a tray of baklava cools in the window. The street is still softly lit, still humming, but winding down. It has served its guests well and is now settling into stillness. Greektown, like much of Toronto, is a mosaic of flavor and feeling. And on an evening like this, it becomes something quieter, something reflective. Not a place to pass through, but one to linger in, to breathe in. A place where hospitality wraps around you like a blanket, and where sleep feels just one sip of warm tea away. At the edge of the city, where buildings give way to water, the harbour front stretches wide and quiet beneath the stars. The hum of the streets fades as footsteps land on wooden planks, and the scent of the lake fills the air, cool, clean, and just faintly sweet. Boats rock gently in their slips, their masts drawing faint lines against the dark sky. The city behind glows in soft reflection, its skyline dancing across the calm surface of the water. As the last ferries return from the islands and the daytime bustle disappears, the boardwalk becomes a place of slow wanderings. Couples lean on railings, watching the reflections ripple and stretch. Joggers slow their pace, drawn by the serenity. Benches tucked beneath lampposts become quiet perches for those who've come just to watch the light change. Tall glass towers rise behind the waterfront, but their shimmer feels far away now. Here, at the water's edge, everything moves slower. The sound of lapping waves mixes with the distant music from a docked boat or the faint echo of a saxophone from a nearby cafe patio. The lake, stretching outward into mystery, seems to hold the night in its vast arms. At the foot of the promenade, the open plaza near the Power Plant Art Gallery and Queen's Quay Terminal rests in shadow. Sculptures cast long silhouettes in the lamplight, and water features bubble quietly into stone basins. Children who played here earlier have gone home. Now, only footprints and a few forgotten chalk drawings remain, soft memories illuminated by the moon. Nearby, a small marina is still. Sails are furled, ropes are tied, and the gentle creak of hulls offers the only sound. Some boats have lights on below deck, flickering faintly like lanterns beneath the surface. A heron stands at the edge, motionless, watching the water for movement. It does not startle. It belongs here in the hush. Just beyond the promenade, the music garden curls along the shore, a landscape of harmony designed to be felt more than seen. Even in darkness, the rhythm remains. Gravel pathways wind past flower beds and soft grassy knolls where one or two visitors still linger, lying back to gaze at the stars. There's a silence here that feels almost musical. A breeze drifts in off the lake, lifting the scent of cedar from a floating dock and carrying it across the water. Somewhere out on the open lake, a sailboat moves slowly, its white hull just visible in the moonlight. It seems unmoored from time, drifting not toward a destination, but within a moment, just like everything else here tonight. The harbor front, with its water and wind, its light and stillness, doesn't ask for attention. It simply offers presence, a space to be near something vast and gentle. And as the waves whisper against the shore, the city exhales again, and the night deepens its embrace. As night continues its soft sweep across the city, Toronto's Junction neighborhood settles into its own rhythm, slower, deeper, edged with the echo of its industrial past. Once defined by rail lines and factories, the Junction is now a place of quiet reinvention. Its brick buildings stand strong beneath the moonlight, their facades warmed by new life, cafes, galleries, vintage shops, and homes where once there were workshops and storerooms. Old train tracks still crisscross the area, sometimes hidden beneath gravel, sometimes raised like spines through alleyways. A distant train whistles, long and low, as it glides past the edges of the neighborhood. The sound doesn't interrupt, it joins the night, part of the story this place continues to tell. The hum of the rails lingers in the air like a heartbeat you don't quite notice until you stop to feel it. Along Dundas Street West, lights from repurposed storefronts cast long, inviting glows. Some are quiet now, with stools turned up on tables and windows steamed with the last heat of the ovens. Others remain gently awake, a bar offering nightcaps, a late-night bakery finishing one more batch. There's always the smell of something baking in the junction, even after hours. Between the buildings, murals bloom, swirls of color painted on aging brick, tributes to stories long rooted in the community. They're not loud, but proud. A wolf howling at the moon, a streetcar among wildflowers, an old factory rising like a monument. Each one carries the past forward without forgetting it. Just off the main street, residential roads stretch into quiet rows of townhouses and semis, many with small porches lit by a single bulb. The yards are tidy, humble, and full of life, a toy left behind in the grass, wind chimes clicking gently, a hammock waiting between two trees. This is a neighborhood that doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. Nearby, a reclaimed industrial lot has been turned into a community green space. Even now, with the garden beds long tucked in for the season, there's something peaceful about it. Raised planters sleep beneath burlap wraps, and a wooden bench sits under a young maple, its leaves rustling against the breeze. Someone's left a painted rock near the foot of the tree. Breathe, it says in blue. In the quiet of the junction, you feel the strength of a place that knows change, not as something abrupt, but something earned. The businesses, the homes, the people here, they've shaped this neighborhood gently, with time and care. It's a place of rebirth, not reinvention, and it hums with that deep, settled energy that only history can give. And as the night deepens, a street lamp flickers to life beside an old red postbox. The corner goes still. A train rumbles softly in the distance, and the junction, in its quiet revival, rocks itself gently to sleep. High above the quiet streets, the rooftops of Toronto rest beneath the stars. Up here, the city hums a softer tune. The CN Tower, now bathed in shifting colors, glows like a lighthouse above the skyline. The buildings around it seem to lean into the night, their windows blinking slowly, as if winding down from the day. On a rooftop patio in the annex, fairy lights string overhead in lazy arcs. A small group shares the last of their tea, their laughter low and steady. The table is scattered with candles and the remains of dessert. Below them, the streetcars still glide past, but their sound is distant, softened by height and time. The night air is cool and kind, moving gently over the edges of balconies and terraces. A soft breeze carries the scent of wisteria from a nearby planter. In the distance, wind chimes play a faint tune from someone's open window. It's a lullaby written by the city itself. From this vantage point, the city looks not like a place to move through, but a place to listen to. Each neighborhood glimmers with memory: Kensington's murals, the still pond in Hyde Park, the soft clatter of forks on Danforth patios. The lake stretches into the dark like a promise, holding the reflections of the skyline steady on its mirrored surface. Somewhere a final bicycle clicks through an alley, its red light blinking between shadows. A cat curls on a fire escape, and the rustle of curtains hints at stories being told or dreams beginning. The lights across the city slowly dim, like candles snuffed out one by one. Back on the rooftop, a lone figure lingers, wrapped in a blanket, looking out. The city doesn't ask questions, it doesn't demand. It simply allows space to be, space to breathe, space to rest. The sound of a distant bell tolls midnight, soft and far away. The stars, rarely seen clearly here, still shine faintly above the haze. One or two are bright enough to catch the eye, silent companions for a sleepless soul or a wandering mind. The sky above the city is vast and calm. It holds Toronto gently in its quiet arms. And so the night continues, steady and slow. The city, once full of motion, lies still. Rooftops cradle reflections, and the hush of sleep settles like a blanket over it all. Toronto, beneath its towers and streetcars, its parks and patios, carries a stillness that only night can reveal. It's in the soft flicker of candlelight on a rooftop, in the quiet breeze drifting through a garden in the junction, in the slow rhythm of waves lapping at the harbor front. These are the moments that go unnoticed by day, but by night they take center stage, small, gentle reminders of a city that knows how to rest. As the lights dim and the stories of each neighborhood fade into soft memory, the city gathers itself like a quilt, stitched together with people and pathways, history and hope. Each street we walked tonight held a different rhythm, a different light, a different kind of quiet. And in those layered textures, Toronto revealed itself not through noise but through grace. Now, as the stars settle in above and the last trains wind their way through the night, it is time to let go. Let the city sleep, let the lake be still, and let the rooftops cradle dreams not yet dreamed. You are safe here, wrapped in this quiet, drifting gently through Toronto's night. We hope you enjoyed today's serene journey and found peace in our gentle narration. Do join us next time as we make a relaxing visit to another of the world's most iconic places. Sweet dreams and safe travels until we meet again.